I struggle to tap into. I know that a lot of artists work towards making creativity a tap that you can just switch on, but I struggle to do that a lot of the time, and I find that I can only write songs when I have something to say, I think. So a lot of the time it's just emotions, I guess, that propel me into a mindset where I feel compelled to write. I've tried to turn it on, and I can write songs kind of just like that, but they're never as good as when I have something inside that's telling me to write. I like to say that my music is really personal, and I think inevitably if you're going to create something as an artist, it's going to reflect something from you. You're going to have an impulse that you need to kind of satisfy, and I use music to do that. So my music is pretty personal. I write songs sometimes from a place of imaginative fiction, I guess. I recently, my forthcoming EP, Black Mod EP, I used Allen Ginsberg's poetry as a starting point from which to write from, and kind of absorbed and soaked up his use of language. I love his words and phrases, and so took that element and then tried to apply it to feelings that I had to create a song, I suppose. So it is personal, but from a point of, imagination, because it makes everything more exciting. No one really wants to hear about my life because it's not that interesting. The music industry is a very interesting one. I think here in Britain we have a great music industry insofar as there are a lot of opportunities for all types of genres, a range of musicians and singers to get their work heard. There are a few ugly sides to it. I haven't come across that yet, but certainly I know friends that have gone through the system, and I think that only happens when you as an artist lose sight or lose perspective of what you originally intended to do. I think if you have a very clear idea of where you are now, which I guess not many people have, but where you are now and where you want to be, and if you use the music industry to get you to that point, and you stay on that path, that you really, you make music for this reason, and the music industry can open its arms and help you, and that's amazing, and has so many opportunities that it can give people. But I think it's just when you lose sight of what you want to be doing that people veer off and become something that they never set out to be, and I think that's when the music industry screws people over, in my experience. In hindsight, I would have loved to have grasped production from a far earlier age and be able to record myself rather than having to rely on other people. I think the more that you can do yourself and the more control of your art that you can retain, I think the better, because you are the person that has such a clear vision of what you want your music to sound like and where you want it to go. And if you can make that happen rather than relying on someone else's brain, I think using other people for creative input is amazing, but if you can record yourself or record demos or understand how to use Logic, for example, just to record a really, really simple idea, I think that speaks volumes for taking your music to the next level. Falling down. The new EP is called the Black Mud EP, and it's 5 songs that I wrote last year, a few months ago, in one evening. I just came home from a run and just sat at a piano, and they all poured out with me in about half an hour. And I recorded it all in this room, which is my little shed down the end of my garden. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm playing my first debut headline show on the 29th of April in London, and I'm so excited. And it's been such a pleasure to see the songs kind of come from me sitting at my piano to going through the whole process of producing and come out the other end and then be taken to a band and the band kind of interpret them, and it's a whole new level of creativity that I've never experienced, and I'm so excited to start playing live. The new EP is slightly different from what I've put out before, and I think that's why I love EPs, is because it gives you that framework to experiment with your sound, which I think is really important. And so the new stuff, I would describe it as a lot more raw. It's quite organic. We recorded a lot of it live in a really big room, so it's got that kind of live feel to it. And it's less crafted, even though there's a lot going on. I've got strings and we've got saxophones, but it's all quite delicately placed, I think, which is something I've learned to do this time around. I think it is really easy to take other people's feedback on board quite literally, and that's dangerous to do that. I remember reading a review of a last EP that was saying, oh, it's so depressing, and Layla needs to write happier music, and then I got kind of really anxious about writing happy music, and I think that's really, really dangerous, because then you are not writing music for yourself. So for this EP, I didn't listen to anything or anyone, I didn't listen to any music, and then it comes from a place that is real and not fabricated by people around you, which I think is really important for the arts in general.
I'm so cold.